Well, Nick Holz, passing game coordinator of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's 39 years old, California native, a high school teammate of new Titans coach Brian Callahan from De La Salle. Man, they had some players on those teams. Won a bunch of championships, won a bunch of games. Maurice Jones-Drew.
Callahan shouted them out in his press conference.
Absolutely. Sounds like that is a pretty big sticking point for him, is the relationships that he had in high school. So he's had that relationship with Holz since they played together.
Red flag.
In high school. What? What's a red flag?
Being too close to your high school friends. Red flag. Just generally red flag.
I don't know. I feel like there's an exception when your high school friends are NFL coaches and players. And
red flag.
I feel like there's a slight exception there.
Leave high school. Red flag.
It's not like he's wearing his Letterman's jacket at his press conference.
Red flag.
So Holz, a walk-on wide receiver at Colorado in his college playing career, mainly was a holder for Mason Crosby. That was his claim to fame as a college football player.
That's tough, man.
He joined Bill Callahan's Nebraska staff in 2007. That was his first coaching job. Nick Holz, an offensive quality control coach and video intern for Nebraska under Brian's father, Bill, back in 2007. In 2008, he's hired by Stanford. He's there through 2011 as an offensive and operations assistant quarterbacks coach. So worked under Jim Harbaugh, worked under David Shaw, and obviously worked with Andrew Luck. He jumps to the NFL in 2012 with the Raiders, and he's on that staff in Vegas for almost a decade. We talked about how rare it is for Arthur Smith to survive coaching tenure after coaching tenure the way he did here.
This guy is like the ultimate NFL cockroach. You can't get rid of him.
Nick Holz is the Arthur Smith of Vegas, or Oakland/Vegas, because he was there for both. He worked under Dennis Allen, Tony Sperano, Jack Del Rio, and John Gruden as a staffer, whether it was quality control, assistant wide receivers, you name it.
That's not a fluke.
For the Raiders. Right. They kept him around. Rich Bisaccia in there as well, but he's an interim coach, so you don't quite count that. But 4 different head coaches that either hired or retained Nick Holz on that staff. This past season, 2022, is the offensive coordinator at UNLV under head coach Marcus Arroyo. And then this past year was the passing game coordinator for the Jags. Trevor Lawrence, took a step back, I think we would say, this year. But that is the resume of one Nick Holz.
Yeah, the Lawrence thing. What do I do with Trevor Lawrence? That should be a positive mark on Nick Holz's resume. And right now, I think you might argue that you would hold it against him because Lawrence's situation. Trevor played through a lot of injuries. Cosell called it a lost year.
Yeah, they had some protection issues as well. But there's no question that offense took a step back after the hot end to 2022.
On paper, Holz reads like the more, I don't want to say more viable candidate, but the more attractive candidate.
Does he?
I think.
Because I feel like the association of Thad Lewis with Baker's year that he had in Tampa really holds him in high regard. Why do you say that? What makes Holz's resume more impressive? Just the fact that he survived all those coaching tenures
with the Raiders? Well, that he's been in the league for as long as he has, that he's got experience both in college and pro.
Yeah, he's got the relationship, obviously, with Brian Callahan.
Which matters, especially if you're going to be as closely tied as – think about how close a relationship Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan clearly have.
Yeah.
Like, this has to be somebody that you are – this your best man, okay? This is your football best man in your new football marriage.
In communication on every play.
So you gotta know that this is the person that you're gonna gut it out with. That you're gonna wake up next to them phrasing day in and day out. But you understand what I'm saying? Maybe I've taken.
Guys got to be able to finish your sentences for you.
Truly. So maybe I'm grading on a curve because just because Thad Lewis is not that yet does not mean that he cannot become that. But I do think that it gives Nick Holz a hell of an edge